It's a lovely day. It's 57 degrees this afternoon. I think it's 2 o'clock right now. I'm out in the pasture. I dragged my chair into the shade because it was too hot in the sun, and it's too hot for a jacket, so I'm wearing this turtleneck, which is a little bit warm. Today, I'm burning a burn barrel. Where is it? There it is. Tomorrow it's going to be overcast, and the next day we're going to have snow and ice. So I am enjoying that wonderful liquid vitamin D up there. I'm enjoying the sunshine today. Well, we had an ice storm yesterday and last night. As you can see, there's ice on everything. And it's all over the ground, and I've come to let the chickens out of the coop, and they won't come out. They're like, we're not, he was crowing. Come on, Ruru. Well, Ruru, come on. Anybody coming out? Okay, let's go see what's going on. There they all are. That's the poop. They poop every night. Okay, now they're going to go down to the other end. I'm chasing them down to the door. They don't want to go out, though. They don't want to go out at all. There's Pepper. See, they've got icicles hanging off of their roof. They really don't want to go out. Maybe I shouldn't make them, but they can't stay in the coop all day long. Come on, guys. There they go. They're sliding down the ramp. Oh gosh, my hat is caught. Go on. What do y'all think? It's a snow day. What do you think, Henny Penny? Well, I'm just going to have to wait and let them come out in their own good time because they are chickens and that's what they do. My hydrangea bushes are quite frozen. Look at that. This is the part of the bush that's underneath the eaves of the house. Everything is quite cold. We didn't get hardly any snow. We've got plenty of ice. And you can hear it crackling in the trees. I'm fine. I'm recording the crackling of the ice in the trees. The chickens won't come out of the coop. This is our little willow copse. Every branch is encrusted in ice. This is also true of every blade of old grass down there. It's quite crusty. Hear it? Walking around, crunch, crunch. This is so unusual for our part of the world. It's very lovely though. But my hands are cold. I think I'm going to go inside. That crackling sound is from the pecan trees. And there's a little bit of blue up there now. It should clear up today, but I don't know if it's going to melt off. Well, the ice came truly on Friday night, and we woke up the next morning to very cold weather. I made a big pot of soup with all the vegetable leftovers. Adam made some cheese biscuits for breakfast. We stayed inside all Saturday and watched it ice over and get worse and worse. The roads were pretty treacherous, but the sidewalks and the deck were the worst, I think. This morning it is so much prettier out here. This is Sunday morning. We're still not going anywhere, and I'll show you why. Although the storm has broken, The sun is out. The skies are blue. But the ground still looks like this. This is our back deck after Adam came out here with, I think, with a hammer, and broke all this stuff. Look at the ice on top of there. It all looked like that. It's about an inch of ice, solid ice, freezing rain and sleet. This is we still have a pretty serious shovel from years ago, so he was trying to chip away at it. He's trying to get me a path to go down to do the chickens, which I've done this morning. Let me take you out and show you what a beautiful day it is. I'm treading very gingerly on all this ice. We really never got any snow. We just got ice. So it really doesn't look like much to you northerners. This would not be much, but the roads were treated and plowed. I was amazed to see a snow plow going by. The eaves of the house are dripping this morning on the east side. So that morning sun is really melting things away. But it is just gorgeous. I love to see all the ice in the trees. Soon that'll be crackling and coming down, or dripping down. So let me fill you in on what we did during our icebound adventure. Adam was making a medieval book, and I pulled out my antique spinning wheel. I guess we were both doing kind of old things. So let me show you what we did while we've been in the house and not going anywhere for 3 days. Adam was given some beautiful cranes paper by a friend years ago, and he used this cotton twine, very slim, and he is making a medieval book. He's folding the papers and sewing the spines of the different signatures with a needle. And then you see those ropes, that's just long ropes of that same twine, that he is stitching to the spine, and then he slathers it with glue. Then he rounded the spine, and this is what you see here in these photos. It's really starting to look like a nice book here. And then he put it into this big wooden clamp that he made years ago for pressing his little books that he's made in the past. This is the first one he's made with this kind of a spine, a binding on it. There's one end of the clamp. This is called a headband. You have one at each end of the spine, and that's a leather band that he has sewn around. And here's the end papers that he's glued on just this morning. So his creative project is still in the works. Here's my antique spinning wheel, and the rest of this video will be all about my frustrations in trying to get it to work again and how some friends, new friends on Facebook, helped me out. Hello, YouTube friends. Well, I'm speaking to you from the frozen tundra of coastal North Carolina. We've had an ice storm. Well, okay, I shouldn't say a storm. We have a coating of ice over everything. It might be anywhere from a ½ inch to an inch thick. It'll take forever for it to melt down here because we don't know how to deal with ice. Anyway, we're making soup and drinking hot tea and hoping that our electricity stays on, which it has so far. Anyway, while I'm cooped up in the house, I'm really thinking of doing something. I'm thinking of doing something a little nervous. I want to pull out my old spinning wheel and see if I spin on it better now that I'm a better spinner. Because when I first started spinning and used this old wheel, a really wonky wheel, I was a terrible spinner, but I was new at it. And I didn't know if it was me or the wheel or both, probably both. But now that I've been spinning for several years and I've got a better wheel and I'm more practiced, I'm wondering if I could go back to that wheel and things would go easier. I did take it to my friend's house, who's kind of my spinning mentor, Lynn, and she spun on it years ago, and it was Not fabulous, but she was able to make it work. And I would like to try it. Plus, I could let you see it. If you look at my really old spinning videos, you'll see this wheel. It's about 200, maybe a little over 200 years old. That one out. I'm going to haul it out of the corner here and set it up and see how it spins. Okie dokie. So, antique spinning wheel adventure today. Here's my new spinning wheel. That's a castle style wheel. It's kind of an up and down wheel with 2 treadles and a single drive band. What that means is that this drive band back here, there's just one. And it goes around the whirl and around the wheel. And that means it spins slower. It's much more manageable for a new spinner. It's not quite so stressful. Because real production wheels, the old-fashioned wheels, had double drive bands, and they were designed to go fast and do a lot of yarn. Now here is my antique wheel. Yes, I still have it. And the name here is S. Barnum. Silas Barnum was the name of the man who designed this wheel. Oh, hello, Leo. He said, Mommy, you turned the heater off in here. Why do you do that? So I have put the drive band on this wheel. It's a double drive band. Now this is just some cotton yarn. I've had this drive band on this wheel the whole time I've had it. And I got this wheel 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. It was up in Massachusetts, and my son brought it to me from a friend who had it in her school classroom. And they were going to throw it away. And I was like, no, 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 because I didn't have a spinning wheel. Some of the little teeth on the flyer are broken. It has one missing over here. It has 2 missing over here. So I tend to use this side. I had to make up a footman with, yes, a yardstick. Yardsticks are so useful. But it works. Okay, so we're going to see how this spins, and if it's worth videotaping, I'll share with you what I'm doing. I'm going to use some roving that was sent to me from, I think, Kromsky when I ordered this wheel. They sent me, I think, they sent me this free, from the Woolery, yes, this roving. And I haven't really used it for much, but I'm going to go ahead and spin some of it up because some white singles are always good to blend with other colors. Okay? I might card it a little bit to loosen it up before I try to spin it. On this spinning wheel, I have a little orifice here, but I have to use a crochet hook to get the leader through. I kind of stopped spinning on this wheel because I found it so frustrating. I was wondering if spinning just wasn't for me because of it. It's a very long leader. It makes a funny little sound when it spins. It's like a crispy little sound of dry leaves or something. I'm sorry I'm chopping off my head, but I'd rather show the wheel than show them the top of my head. All right. So for those of you who don't spin, this is a little rolag. It's not a lot of fiber. And you kind of pull it out till it's about the thickness you want. And you roll it a little bit so that you're basically agitating those fibers so that they go together and hold together. And then you put this in. I do have some wool, some rougher wool that would probably do even better because boy, that stuff really holds together. But I'm going to use this instead. This should work. This should work. Okay, we will see how the tension is. The tension on this wheel is made through this knob right here. This is called a tensioning knob, and it goes to a big wooden screw that's attached to this whole assembly, which is called the mother of all. And if I turn it, it pulls mother of all this way or this way, closer or further away in regard to the wheel, and tightens this drive band one way or the other. Now in a minute I may bring you in a little closer so you can watch. We'll see how this goes. Well, I haven't spun with a Saxony wheel like this in a while. twisting it, but it's not pulling it in, which means the tension is probably not tight enough. I've got a lot of twist, but not enough tension. It's difficult for this to feed on because of these hooks. I think that has a lot to do with it. Adjusting the balance between the speed of your treadling and the amount of tension you have is always the issue. See, this has too much twist now because I've been treadling faster and faster. See if it does better now. I cannot describe to you, dear friends, how much all of this portion of the video was a huge exercise in frustration on my part, as I discovered that all of the same difficulties I faced with this wheel exactly 4 years ago were still there. I was still having difficulty treadling. I was having difficulty keeping the wheel going, and it was overspinning my singles, over twisting my singles. It was very frustrating. So that's what you're seeing here, even though I'm trying to keep my stuff together. But it does get better, I promise. It's just not pulling in. I have to treadle really fast just to keep the wheel going, and that's kind of scary to me, but it's not as scary as it used to be. Okay, this is working. It has kind of the wheel has and the treadle has a feel like you have to kind of get it over the hump. You have to really keep treadling or else it'll stop. And then I get scared of it. So this is working. Once you get it spinning, that's the bobbin that's loose and makes that little whirring racket. Oh boy, it is so twisty though. That's because of how fast I have to treadle. So this always gave me over twisted yarn, and that's because I have to treadle so fast because otherwise the spinning wheel doesn't keep going. I don't know how to treadle slower on this wheel or else it will stop. But look at all, so much twist. Maybe I'll bring y'all in here and show this to you. Get this so it doesn't undo. See this, it just has so much twist in it, really way too much twist. See all those little pigtails that form? It's normal to have some of that, obviously. That's just normal twist. But when I look in here on the bobbin, it's got little zigzaggy, it's just like springs in there. It's just way too much twist in the yarn. Of course, that's going to affect your finished yarn a lot. I am able to get it on there. I've got the tension turned all the way up with that tensioning knob. But man, see what I would need to do would be to draw all that twist down into my draft down here. Oh my goodness, that's probably enough twist to pull into. I guess this is almost like a drop spindle kind of affair. That's just crazy. Yeah, I think because of the, I just wonder if it's my treadling. Look at that. Just look at that. Isn't that crazy? But I'm really not able to move all that twist down into this yarn. It doesn't seem to be working that way. And the thing is, why oppress yourself with this kind of spinning when I've got a beautiful spinning wheel over there that that works wonderfully, and I can spin on it for an hour without even stopping except for to adjust feeder pegs. So I just don't know, man. That is just look how springy that is. Well, maybe I'll try to finish this one up. I don't know. I used to really turn the tension as high as possible to try to get that yarn fed into there as quickly as possible because I could tell I had so much twist. It's just really hard to keep the wheel going. That's my issue. And it doesn't spin crooked. I had the axle straightened, so it does spin straight. I don't know. See, if I pause for just a second, it stops. So when I go that fast, and of course now I'm re-spinning, having a hard time even feeding that in. I feel like I'm pushing it through the orifice, and I am. That's just crazy. All right, well, I may put a post on my Facebook group asking for advice about this and describing my situation. Maybe somebody with an antique wheel could give me advice, because I would love to have two wheels to use. I could be working on something on this wheel and I could be working on something else on that wheel. That would be kind of fun. But I'm going to cut this off right now and be done with this exercise in frustration. Well, I am back with my antique spinning wheel adventure. After my frustrations in the previous video segment, I went on my Facebook group. It's an antique spinning weaving group. I forget the name of it. Such helpful people. Oh my goodness. One woman even remembered my post from 5 years ago when I struggled with the same issue with this wheel. Another woman asked if my footman was perhaps the wrong length. And when I thought about it, I thought, I bet it's too long, because the bottom of the footman is kind of hitting the floor with every rotation. And I think that's what's putting the whole rotation of the wheel off. I don't know how I decided what length to make my footman before, but when my husband came in, he's such a problem solver. When he came in and I described the problem to him, he said, why don't you just put a book underneath, he said, the back two legs of the spinning wheel, which I did. That didn't help much, but then for some reason I thought to take one out of the front and just have a book. The book is about this thick. It's about an inch maybe, under that back leg, so that the footman is not able to go to the floor. Kind of raising the back corner. It's probably not the best permanent solution, but it really has made a huge difference. I also adjusted my tension. I had assumed I needed it as tight as possible, to try to pull the fiber in as fast as possible before it over twisted. And one woman said, no, let up on the tension some. That could be part of your problem. So I did that. I think I've reached a really good spot. I'm going to try to spin for you on this wheel. I'm sure I have some old footage of me doing this, but I'm able. This is almost like a production wheel. It was really designed to be used by somebody who was not spinning for fun, but spinning for a business and needed to spin as much single and ply, as much double as possible to make a living. And so it spins really fast, and it likes a thin yarn. And so for some reason on this wheel, it's easier to do a more long draw. I've never really done a long draw, which is when you kind of hold the fiber up here and you just are able to pull it out really far. On my other wheel, that's really hard to do. It's going to break first, but this one, it just seems to do it better. Okay, we'll see how this, if you never see this segment, it's because it didn't really work very well. Now I have to get mastery over this treadle. I have to show it who's boss, I think, in a way. See what I mean about this long draw? And that's not very long, but some of them have been very long. And it really wants a very thin single, which is kind of scary. I keep on being afraid it's going to break. But the treadling is going much better. It's still a little, what I would just call lopsided. Listen to the whirring of that bobbin. It really pulls it in. And that's very thin. Sometimes I just know they're so thin. Really keep after the treadling, but I'm able to keep going, which is wonderful, even when I'm nervous because the camera's going. It really does make for a very tight single. You can tell this wheel was built for this purpose. Somebody mentioned it might have been a flax wheel. I don't know that that's true. We don't know. It should look like flax wheels. Flax wheels were designed to have, I think, to spin very fast and have very thin singles. I'll take a picture of this bobbin. The single is very nice and thin and consistent. I was never able to spin that kind of single on there before. I think I have improved as a spinner, but I think raising that back leg of the wheel has made a huge difference. Footman seems to be behaving better. I do think I'm going to put a new footman on. I'm going to do one that's a cord instead of wooden, I think. And will be very adjustable. Maybe I'll spin all of this white wool on here and save the colorful wool for the other wheel. All right, I'm pretty pleased with that. Let me take a picture or so, or a little video of this, the singles on this bobbin. Well, there it is. The reason why there's this gap right here is because I'm missing a prong on my flyer at that spot. It'll be okay. But they are pretty consistent, and there's you can see early on, see the twist right there. Some of that earlier stuff was over twisted, but the stuff here looks really good. It's got good twist in it, but not too much. Well, it would be so much fun. It would be so naughty, but so much fun to have 2 spinning wheels set up in my studio to spin on. What do you do when you have a spinning addiction, but you don't really know what to do with your yarn? We'll have to think about that. I probably need to knit. I really need to weave, but I really just want to spin. That's a terrible thing.